It's time for the Stoops Review with Toby Rowland, TJ Perry, and Hall of Fame head coach Bob Stoops. The Stoops Review is brought to you every week by Stride Bank. With local roots and national reach, Stride Bank is your go-to partner for all your banking needs. Stride Bank, your trusted financial partner since 1913. And now, with the Stoops Review, here's Toby Rowland, TJ Perry, and Bob Stoops.
Joining us right now on the program, as he does with T-Row and TJ every single Monday, is the Hall of Famer, Bob Stoops. Coach, Chris Plank, Blake Gamble. We weren't good. I knew you were on the West Coast. 6:30 in the morning. Let's go, man. Thanks for finding time for us. How's the trip to L.A. treating you?
Yeah, it's great. Just, out here seeing Drake for a few days around Christmas since he has a regular work week. And other children have come out yesterday, so it's been great. We had a good time last night.
That's awesome. Hey, we just had someone asking. Pacifico Allen was asking about the Thursday or the Friday game against Navy. I don't know how much more you've dug into them. That was an impressive win for Navy over Army, Coach, and obviously they've got a lot of momentum. You've talked about this with the guys, but just how unique is that challenge going up against what a service academy does? Pretty different, isn't it?
Yeah, very, very different. They don't first of all, their team is going to be in full attack. They don't have the transfer portal in the Army, Navy, and Air Force. So they're there for different reasons. So you have to give it to those, young men playing the game the way they do and what they give to our country. And then, but, what does help us is we get some extra. It's different than if you're playing them in a 1 week period of time where you only have a few, say 3-4 practices to get ready for them. So the fact that we get a few more practices, I hope will help us. But I was very impressed with them, the way they beat Army, and an 11-1 Army team they beat soundly. And loved the way the quarterback played. Thought he was a big-time player. And anyway, just overall, I thought they did a really good job. I watched the whole game. I thought it was a well-played game by both teams, Army and Navy, both. So, we'll have to play well to win.
Hey, Coach, it's funny. I was talking to Coach Venables. I did the coach's show with him, taping on Wednesday, and he made the joke. He goes, "No one's going to be rooting for us because that's Navy, that's America." I had to point out. Now my son goes to West Point. Well, the Army guys are rooting for you to beat them because Army and Air Force wants to see Navy lose. But it's real. I know. I don't like playing the service academies because it is so unique. But, man, what a cool challenge for these guys, right? And you mentioned the young guys, the Samuel Masigos, the Kip Lewises, the Kobe McKenzie's of the world at backer. You think about some of the interior defensive linemen. I mean, this has got to be a fun challenge for them to do and go up against something so unique.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it is a big challenge. And, I'm sure they know it. And, so we've got to go out and play a really good football game and give ourselves a chance to win, definitely.
Bob Stoops is our guest, getting up early with us on the West Coast. Coach, we just had a chance to talk to John Mateer for the first time, the new Oklahoma quarterback. I don't know if you've had a chance to chat with him or go through it, but what's kind of been your impression so far of the newest addition to Oklahoma out of the transfer portal in John Mateer?
Yeah, I haven't had a chance at all to see him or run into him yet. I'm excited about him being here. Loved what I've watched on TV. A guy that's really, throws the ball well. He's strong, can run. He has similarities to Baker in the attitude he plays with. It seems like to me,
right.
just from afar watching him. He runs better than you think. He's scrappy. Anyway, all of it I've been really impressed with. I have had a chance to run into Ben Arbuckle a few times and really love what he brings, and really a neat guy to be around. So I love the fact that they've worked together. That means something, so when they come in and start calling plays, those kind of things, it's, it'll be familiar to John, and that always helps, when there isn't a big learning curve.
How big of a – yeah, you hit it right there, but I'll ask, just elaborate on it, Coach. I mean, how big of a difference does that make whenever you bring in a guy that already pretty much knows the system? I mean, that's got to be a big help to the receivers and the rest of the offense when you have a quarterback that has been in this offense for a couple of years.
No, it definitely does. And he'll become a coach on the field to some degree in what he's expecting from receivers and, what he's looking at, those kind of things. So it'll definitely help.
Coach, the story was told that to seal the deal for John Mateer, Baker Mayfield picked up the phone and made a call. And John told us the story that at first he didn't recognize the number, so he sent it to voicemail, and then boom, there's a Baker Mayfield voicemail waiting. From your perspective as somebody who coached Baker, how cool is it to see the importance of this program in which Baker's getting ready for a Monday night or a Sunday night football game, and yet he picks up the phone and is calling a recruit to try to get him to come here. That's got to feel pretty special to you, right, to see that this place matters so much to guys that you coached still?
Yeah, absolutely, and that doesn't surprise me. Baker's been a Sooner since he was a little guy, and fortunately for us, he came here and, walked on without us even knowing that he was coming. And, everyone's heard that story. So anyhow, I love it. That does not surprise me. Baker will do anything for people he cares about and for this program. So anyway, I'm not surprised at all. And, and he's a big deal to guys like John Mateer. He's a big deal to everybody in Soonerland. So anyway, again, I love it.
I do too. Hey, Coach, I know you're on the West Coast, so I'll cut you loose after our first segment. I want you to be able to spend time with your family and everything, but I did want to get your take on the playoffs and what you saw this week. And everybody wants to fight and scratch and claw about who should have been in and who shouldn't. We were just talking about it before we called you. I just love the home field environments, man. I thought it was awesome. I don't know how much you got to take in with your travel, but those home field environments, man, it really – you want to play at home if you're in that first round. It was awesome to see this weekend. Do you have any big takeaways from what you saw in the 4 games?
Just that. Doesn't surprise me, some of the big wins, and that's okay. I'm not one, if you're outside of the top 12, quit your complaining and win more. That's the bottom line. And I'm with you. I thought the home field advantage and the home fields was really cool. I don't know how you can, it doesn't seem fair to the other teams that didn't get to play, to their fan bases, and to the communities, you'd like to be able to host one of those games. But I don't know. I guess there's an advantage of getting a bye and, moving further along into the playoffs. So anyway, I think we'll, the committee and overall college football will keep adjusting it. But, I'm not going to complain that some of the games weren't, competitive enough. Again, the teams that are on the outside looking in, you can't get in the top 12. That's your fault. I lived in the world where it was the top 2, period. So, and still we got there 4 times. So it's challenging, but, I thought the games, like you said, were great. I loved the home fields were really cool to watch, playing like, NFL teams in snow and clearing snow, those kind of things, playing in weather. It was good. They've been really good, I thought, and I watched all of them. Yeah,
it was fun, man. Hey, I'll let you go and enjoy the West Coast after this. I haven't had a chance to really hear you talk about how Drake's doing. This Rams team is something else. They started out struggling a bit. Really seems like they found their stride. Looked like it was freezing yesterday up in New York. But how's Drake matriculating to the NFL? How's he feeling being around this Rams team right now, and how do you feel like he's handling things?
He loves it. He can't say enough positives about the culture of the team. Sean McVay and all his coaches, how, just upbeat and positive they are every day. Loves going to work every day. He loves his receiver room. He said those guys are a ton of fun. Cooper Kups and, Puka Nacua, all of them, he said, are just really great guys. They all help each other. He's learned a lot. It's amazing when you're out at practice every day going against the best. you just naturally improve, in everything that you're doing. So anyway, he's healthy and can't say enough positives about what's happening in their building.
Oh, hey, one more quick one, Coach. There's been a lot of cool articles written. There was a whole spread yesterday on Coach Switzer, kind of a thank you letter that the Tulsa World wrote. There's an Oklahoma story on the front page about Barry, and I mean just a guy that lights up the room. Before we let you get out of here, shouts out to the King, right? He's been so cool.
Oh, yeah.
He's the best, man. What's your experience has been like being around Barry and how fun he is to really represent this program?
Oh, shoot, I'm with everybody. I love Coach Switzer. He's been a really good friend to me since the day I got here. And we don't do it as much here lately, but people would auction off a dinner for different charities with Barry and I. And so many of those, we rode together. I'd pick him up or he'd pick me up, and we'd go to some up in the city somewhere, somebody that, bought the dinner with us. And we've always been close. We've always had a lot of fun together. And, he's the King, and I'm good with that. I'm happy with whatever I did. And anyway, he is, like you said, he's always a joy to be around. Always fun to be with.
Coach, I hope you really enjoy your time with your family. Merry Christmas. Thanks for still finding time for us with Toby and TJ out, and we look forward to hearing from you again soon.
All right, Chris. Appreciate you guys. Boomer Sooner.
See you, Coach. Boomer Sooner. It's Bob Stoops.
The Stoops Review, presented by Stride Bank, is brought to you in part by Fowler Automotive. Fowler Automotive is proud to be part of your community, where our passion and values lie far beyond the showroom.
Back with you. It's the Plank Show on a pre-Christmas Eve, Monday game week edition. Are you starting to get geeked up, Dusty, for the Armed Forces Bowl for Oklahoma?
I cannot wait, man. They better be strapped up and ready to roll, man. I mean, Navy, what a win they had over Army. I thought that was extremely impressive. Blake Horvath can run that option extremely well, and he can throw it. That's the one element that makes this Navy team maybe a little bit more difficult to defend than these, academy option teams of the past. Like, you really do have to be, cognizant of their ability to throw the football. But Blake Horvath, injured his thumb earlier this season, right around the Notre Dame game, and he's finally gotten himself back to full health, and we saw that on display there as they took home the Commander-in-Chief trophy and really beat up on Army in impressive fashion. So I do think that Brent Venables and, his experience, even going back to when he was at Clemson playing Georgia Tech when Paul Johnson was there, having to prepare and get a defense ready for option football almost year in, year out there within the ACC, I do think that he'll have a good plan. He'll have these guys ready. It's different full speed in the way what they're going to see coming up on Friday, but I'm anxious to see when guys are given opportunities to step up, maybe with increased roles in what they've had, how they handle it. But it's assignment football at its finest, and as long as Oklahoma is assignment sound, every individual you heard, it's the cliche, do your job. There's no more appropriate time to live by that credo than whenever you're playing a team like Navy and what they're going to see on Friday.
I should tell you as well, Dusty Dvoracek on the ref in the house with us. It's sponsored by Yala Ghazni Attorneys at Law. If you have been in a car wreck, don't waste time. Get the help you deserve. Call Rob and Will, 405-800-8080, or T-Town in Tulsa, 918-800-8080. That is Yala Ghazni Attorneys at Law. Experience the difference. Get back to life. Get more for your settlement. Connor, jump in here.
Yeah, Dusty, what do you want to see from the OU offense against Navy? It's kind of a reset button for Michael Hawkins at quarterback, a chance for him to kind of just play free out there. And he's got most of the same offensive line that we've seen for most of the season. So what do you want to see from the Sooners on the offensive side of the ball?
Win the line of scrimmage, be able to run the football. I think we saw these guys perform at a really high level, obviously against Alabama in that win, and I'd like to see it's going to be a smaller defensive front for Navy, and I think Oklahoma should be able to find some success. Obviously that receiver room is pretty depleted. to say the least. But I want to see them be able to run the football, and I don't think there's any reason that they shouldn't be able to do that. And, especially with Michael Hawkins, man, I'm excited for him and another opportunity. And we know with his athleticism, I think he could be a huge weapon and a key piece here throughout the course of this football game. So I think everybody, the last time I was on, guys, the John Mateer news, it had not broke yet. He was on campus that day when I was on last week, but nothing was official until later that day. So I think everybody just overall in general has got a little bit more pep in their step, right? I think probably the coaching staff. I think the guys on this team, though he's not going to be on the field impacting this team, I just think that injects a lot of energy, a lot of juice. So, but I want to see this offense and this offensive line in particular take advantage of this opportunity. They're going to be bigger. I think I have a chance to utilize some physicality, and will not surprise me at all if we see Michael Hawkins making some big splash, explosive plays with his athleticism, with his legs.
It's funny, Dusty, you took it in that direction because you must have access to the text line. Warren was asking you, Dusty, do you think the recent success in the transfer portal will be a positive effect on Oklahoma in the bowl game? And he said, I do personally.
How can it not? I mean, how can just, you know what I mean? Like, it's just good vibes. I mean, it's what you want. And I especially think, too, like the way Michael Hawkins approached this from the beginning, I mean, that's not going to change his outlook, his approach. He wanted, I think he welcomes John Mateer to come in and compete for that job, and even if he has to be the backup. So it's not like he's going to do anything different. I just think everybody overall that's going to be back with this football team, I just think that for a year that did not go the way anybody wanted, and there was a lot of disappointment, there's optimism. There's an optimistic outlook going on right now, and I don't know how it couldn't do anything but be a real positive for the players on this team and head right into this bowl game.
Defensively, one of the things I'm excited to watch in this game is Kobe McKenzie and Kip Lewis and Sammy Omasigo flying around out there. What did you make? Have you perused the depth chart that OU put out, and what are you excited to see defensively from Oklahoma versus Navy?
Man, I love Kobe McKenzie. I've been a huge Kobe McKenzie fan for a long time now, and I am really excited about his opportunity in particular, which we've seen him in a big role previously, so it's nothing new. I think, though, in a game like this in particular, that's going to be more in-the-box type of game, that's what he is, man. You know what I mean? Like, he's an old-school throwback. He's going to use that heavy hat, and he's real downhill, very instinctive, in-box linebacker, and I think it's going to play really well in a game like this. So I think him in particular really gets me excited about this matchup. And, obviously Kip Lewis is, he's been really good all throughout the course of this season. So, recognize, understand that, it's Danny and Billy and some of these guys going to move on and get themselves ready for that next step in the NFL. But I would say of all the guys that I'm fired up, excited about the opportunity they're going to have in this bowl game in particular, I'd say Kobe McKenzie is at the very top of the list, and I just think his game suits what they're going to see so unbelievably well.
Offensively, I was saying this earlier, Dusty, that, man, wouldn't it be a nice sight if it's Caden Helms or Devon Mitchell at tight end making some plays in this game. Oklahoma, by the way, picked up a transfer portal tight end this morning, Dusty. But, to have
From
one
Kennesaw
of those younger
State,
guys.
Right? Kennesaw State, I
Kennesaw
believe.
State, Carson Kent.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
But, for me, it'd be nice to see Helms or Mitchell at tight end, and then one of these young receivers, if it's Zion Reagans, Zion Kearney, or Ivan Carrion, like the young guys offensively at the skill positions, if they could go out and do something, that would be a great sign for OU to springboard into 25.
There's there's no doubt. I mean, I think that, anybody, and we've seen, some of these guys, Zion Reagans, it's interesting. Some of these guys, it's tough to even keep track of exactly who's left on the roster But Kearney obviously offers some great size, and there's going to be a lot of opportunities. I think one guy in particular, Xavier Robinson at running back, his physicality, because Javante Barnes, I believe, not going to be available, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Xavier Robinson going to have a real chance and opportunity to step up and have a real impact on this game. So, look, man, that's kind of what bowl games are now, right? With guys either getting the transfer portal, guys going to the NFL draft, opportunities that present themselves, and you want to make the absolute most of it. I know that, is it Davin Mitchell, I believe? I think he was a guy that a lot of people were excited about. I mean, wouldn't this be a spot and an opportunity for him to step up and have a big performance?
I would hope so. It'd be great to see.
Is it Davin or David Mitchell? Because I don't want to mispronounce his name.
Well, I don't claim to be the expert, but I think it's Devon Mitchell.
Okay, perfect. Devon Mitchell. He would be somebody. You mentioned Caden Helms. I mean, I think that both those guys. Anybody that's going to get an opportunity is going to have a chance to shine and show what they're able to do. And again, you've got these practices that they've been taking advantage of, and now you get on a big stage, and it kind of just, I think gives you that much more of an opportunity to springboard heading into next season. And with your new offensive coordinator right there to watch and see what you can do in Ben Arbuckle, everybody wants to be able to make the most of the opportunities given to them here in a matchup like this. So that's what's going to be fun. There's going to be some guys that are given chances that we haven't really seen. Who's going to make the most of it, make it count come Friday?
So Bo Prabula obviously generated some headlines leaving Penn State when he did, but if you could set that aside, Prabula, Penn State had some packages for him to come in and help them, and somebody asked, hey, assuming, and I think a lot of people are understandably so naturally kind of making that assumption that John Mateer will win the quarterback job, what does it mean for Hawkins? Could he move to a different position? And I say, Dusty, could we see Oklahoma do something similar to what Penn State did, where you have some packages for Michael Hawkins, even if he's not your starting quarterback next season?
I guess somebody making the assertion to move Michael Hawkins to a different position. Did I hear you say that right?
Yes, and so
no, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Bo Pribula is much more of a runner. Obviously, now went to Missouri. Drew Aller is a bigger bodied. He can move a little bit more of a pocket quarterback. John Mateer is a dual threat. I mean, John Mateer just ran for over 800 yards. So I don't really know why you would have special packages for Michael Hawkins. It doesn't. Part of why you're bringing in John Mateer is his ability to impact the game with his arm and with his legs. What I think the only quarterback in the country with over 3,000 passing, 800 rushing. So I don't really draw much similarity. At Penn State, those were guys that had completely different skill sets. We've seen that at Oklahoma before. I think it's easy to think about the Belldozer package that they would utilize with Blake Bell. Just kind of a completely different skill set than the quarterback you had. I actually look at Michael Hawkins and John Mateer and would say that they've got very similar skill sets. So I don't know why you would create some kind of package that would bring Mateer off to bring Hawkins in. And again, I think with Michael Hawkins, he's got a potentially really bright future and a high ceiling. He's just got to develop and he's got to learn. And I think he was put in a spot, probably before he was really ready earlier this season. And I think that, bringing in John Mateer is only going to help his growth and maturation, which is one of the things that I'm really looking forward to. So, no, I definitely don't think that Michael Hawkins is going to be moving. I think that's one of the things that you love about this is that you're going to feel good about your backup quarterback and Michael Hawkins. And, from a skill set, I really think that the two offer, some similar skills that I don't know if we'll see any special packages, Josh, bringing Mateer off the field to bring Michael Hawkins in.
Well, you mentioned it earlier, Dusty, that the news with Mateer kind of happened after the last time we spoke. So what was your reaction to Oklahoma finalizing what felt like, the big fish, if you will, out of the transfer portal for OU?
Thank God. Thank God. Because earlier that was right on the heels of the news coming out, or the news coming out about Jake Dicker taking the Wake Forest job, and people were starting to panic and freak out. What if Ben Arbuckle's the coach of Washington State and they lose the coordinator, they lose the quarterback? And I expected all along when even before Ben Arbuckle was the choice, I thought that was one of the things that, not that you had to have Mateer for the Arbuckle hire to be a good one, but I thought that was one of the allures and one of the advantages potentially of bringing in Ben Arbuckle in the immediate, is that you would give yourself a great opportunity to bring in John Mateer with him. And that's exactly the way this played out. And ever since they hired him, my full expectation was that they'd get him. So you never know until it's signed, sealed, delivered. There's definitely people out there making noise that Miami is making some headway. And look, let's be honest, there might be some teams out there with deeper pockets. So you just never know. But I think that just excitement for me. I'm excited to see John Mateer, in a Sooner uniform, run this offense, and the way Ben Arbuckle knows exactly how to use him. And I just love this. Will be the third year that Mateer's been in his system. Obviously, 2 years ago, Cam Ward was the starting quarterback, but John Mateer was there. And now at 3 years, a quarterback and a coordinator together, that continuity, that understanding, player of system, coach of player, exactly what each other like. That's simpatico. And that's exactly what you want. So when you got a quarterback, man, it just feels a little different, right? Like when you got somebody that you feel like is a dude, is the guy at that position, I think everybody just kind of has a little pep in their step, a little strut in their walk. And I think that's a little bit the way probably everybody around that building is, and I think even Sooner fans. But I think the initial thing was a little bit of relief as well. So I'd say excitement and relief that this thing has finally passed us, and now we can everybody can look forward to the future and what this looks like with John Mateer running the show.
Absolutely. Amen. Definite relief. One more from the audience as we navigate our way toward Christmas here. The 818, Dusty, they say, I have to admit I was one of the ones that was upset about the blowouts, but then upon reflection, I realized this is the first year for the expanded playoffs, and yeah, we should give the committee the benefit of the doubt. My guess is that in the future, the picks might have different criteria. What are your thoughts?
I think the seeding's going to change. We're never going to fully get rid of blowouts. I don't want to bring this up, but what was the score Oklahoma LSU? I've tried to forget it. I've tried to eradicate it.
Yeah, well, that's a deep down there memory that I blocked out as well. It was a lot to not so much.
But my point is, did Oklahoma deserve to be in that, Josh?
Absolutely they did.
You're darn right
question.
They did. And they were one of the 4 best teams in the country that year, and it got sideways. And there's been unfortunately, a lot of playoff games that way, but that's we all want competitive games that come down to the wire. That's just not a reality. Live sports doesn't always work out that way. And even when I thought Ohio State Tennessee was going to be a great matchup, that was the biggest blowout of all 4. I was a mismatch on that field. Still think Tennessee should have been in. I still think they're one of the 12 best teams throughout the course of the season. Ohio State just got the better of them. So I don't think there was blowouts. Heck, unfortunately, one of the teams I was on, it didn't go so well against USC. Whenever we played them as an undefeated team, 2 teams met in the national championship. And it was a very one-sided affair. Like, I don't know. We can't always make it perfect. We can't always guarantee there's going to be competitive games in big, high-profile games. I wish we could, man. 918, man, if we could figure that out, sign me up. I'll take them all day, every day. Because as a fan of college football, as someone that loves eats, breathes, sleeps this stuff, and especially is out there at venues calling games, I love competitive games that come down the wire. I mean, it's what, as a broadcaster, it's what you wish for. I mean, right? That's the ultimate goal, is that you get one that comes down to the wire, the big moments, back and forth. It just doesn't always work out that way. And it's funny, like this year I had two of the teams that were, big in the discussion of the playoff. I had South Carolina, Ole Miss. In South Carolina, by the way. On paper, that looked like one of the best games we were going to have all year. And like going into it, I thought we had arguably the game of the weekend that week, because one of them was in the conversation. And we just thought, South Carolina was coming off a bye. Ole Miss, hadn't been playing very well. Ole Miss beats them 27-3. The game wasn't even competitive. Like sometimes, you can have the ingredients for greatness, and it just isn't. And then other times, you can have a game that looks like it's going to be a blowout, and it's a 3-touchdown spread or a 17-point spread, and it's knockdown, drag out to the wire. Part of that's just live sports, man. And so, while I get it, I understand, it wasn't the competitive down to the final possessions or late in the fourth quarter games that we had all hoped for. It's what we all hope for as sports fans. Just give it some time and see. I would challenge anybody to show me when it's ever been perfect at any level or any way we've crowned a national champion. And even some of the games we think are going to be the absolute best turn out to be some of the biggest duds.
Dusty, you're the man. Merry Christmas to you and your family. Appreciate you jumping on today, and enjoy the holiday, my friend.
I'm going to enjoy it 100%. Fired up, excited. Merry Christmas to all the KREF Army. I'll be back on Thursday for a little bit more in-depth preview of this big matchup with Navy. Merry Christmas to everybody. We'll talk to you later in the week.
See you, Dusty. That's Dusty Dvoracek, Sooner great ESPN analyst. Again, was on the call for Clemson, Texas, and his appearance is here with us. Sponsored by Yala Ghazni, attorneys at law. If you've been in a car wreck, don't waste time. Get the help you deserve. Call Rob and Will, 405-800-8080. Tulsa, 918-800-8080. Call Rob and Will with Yala Ghazni, attorneys at law. Experience the difference. Get back to life. Get more for your settlement.